Welcome back, Sparsha. How's it been? Session 6. We've
Oh,
finished it all, and now session 7.
oh my goodness, it's moving too quickly, but it's been so fun. And I think this session in particular is a really important session. I think this is sort of where the course starts thinking a lot about human injustices, and certainly this is absolutely one of them around who's bearing these costs of the intensification. We're going to keep our focus in the U.S. on this one. And so one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that actually agriculture is one of the main mortality factors for deaths resulting from pollution in the United States. There's 18,000 deaths a year from agriculture, and 13,000 of them are from CAFOs, so animal agriculture. And what we don't know very well is how this is distributed. Right? How are these deaths distributed? We don't know on average, but what research is showing us is in states like North Carolina and Iowa, where you have a lot of animal agriculture, factory farms are placed next to minoritized communities. So these are Black and brown populations. So we'll talk a lot about that, about the politics of it, why they're put there. And then we'll also cover a little bit of that literature on food deserts and food swamps. So we're going to have a guest speaker talk more about this, but it turns out that the subsidies, the way that the government is funding our food system results in unhealthy foods that are placed in places where you see more minoritized communities again. So they're also disproportionately paying the costs of health costs around overconsumption of animal-based foods.
Yeah. Well, you said, and those are shocking statistics, even to know that so I'm just going to simplify it for our viewers. Growing our food is killing people.
Yep. And it's killing some people more than others.
And it's killing some people more than others. And there seems to be some sort of a racial ethnicity bias to that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow. This really takes, the understanding of social determinants of health to a totally different level.
Absolutely. And it's
determinants of mortality.
Absolutely. And I think it's one where we're seeing more and more awareness growing. And I think there's been so much great work that comes from minoritized Black and brown communities on this topic. And I'm very glad that in the course we're able to shine a light on that. So we'll be watching the documentary They're Trying to Kill Us, which covers some of this information. But to just shine a big spotlight on that is very important.
Yeah. And what do you mean by intensification? If you can, demystify that word a little bit.
Absolutely. So, I think when most people think of where their meat and dairy and eggs are coming from, they imagine, small farms, but actually 99% of the meat that people are eating in this country comes from really large farms. These are called concentrated animal feeding operations. That's CAFOs. So the colloquial term is factory farm. And so these are really gross, and they create a lot of waste, and they're very smelly, and nobody wants to be around them for understandable reasons, but they're placed where people live. And so that's the intensification part, is the animals being intensely kept in these concentrated feeding sites.
Yeah. Wow. And obviously not surprised that we don't have the distributed data for this to.
No, on average. The EPA doesn't collect it.
The EPA doesn't collect it.
No.
There's a data gap.
Yeah.
Will we also be talking about the data gaps that exist and other possibilities for research?
Yeah, we'll be covering a little bit of that in the next unit of the course, but we will certainly highlight it in this course as well, since it connects so well. It explains why we have this gap in research, and it really is a gap in data problem initially, right? So we'll cover it, but we'll do more of that in another session.
Yeah, because if we track it, then we're able to see it, we're able to report, and then some solutions can be brought to bear. But thank you so much, Sparsha. This session 7 is going to be very interesting. It's a serious issue. You've
Yeah,
mentioned states of Iowa and North Carolina. I bet there are other states that maybe their data dark about that.
100%. Yeah.
you know, and yeah, it's just such an important topic, and I hope that the students will benefit from everything that you're going to be talking to them about.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nivi. I'll see you there.
We'll see you soon.